Major Devils trade update report reveals a new target. Could be from a familiar foe, and it could have an impact on their star, Jack Hughes. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Devils Digest. I'm your host, Ryan the Gosiker, here with you, bringing you the latest, greatest Devils content, trying to bring it all to you in what is a very critical 2025 offseason for the New Jersey Devils as you continue to watch the Eastern Conference playoffs. And, man, you can't help but think that if the Devils are able to do what Tom Fitzgerald says, obviously actions speak louder than words, but if they were able to do what GM Tom Fitzgerald said, you look around the Eastern Conference and you wonder why the Devils can't compete to at least be in the second round and potentially make a conference final, but they've got to make the right moves. We'll get into it. We'll break it all down. But first, I want to let you know, be one of the first subscribers. Not first. I got so trained on that for such a while. I want you to help us reach our goal of 500 subscribers. That's our goal right now. We want to get bigger in the future, but we're thinking right now 500 subscribers. We're just over 350. Okay, we need your help to get to 500. So hit that subscribe button for me, and let's get right into the show. Now, as I mentioned, this is a critical offseason for the Devils. You watch the postseason, you kind of have to sit there and think, man, I feel like the Devils, I felt like maybe they could have given Carolina a better series if Jack's healthy, if 12 of their defensemen go down due to injury, stuff like that. So you feel like with some tweaks, right, you think maybe the Devils can get there in terms of being one of the final teams in the Eastern Conference still standing. Obviously, Florida being the gold standard. We're seeing that right now with their prowess right now over Carolina in the Eastern Conference Finals. But at least in the Metro, if you're the Devils, you got to be aiming for the top. And you don't know what's going on with the Rangers. The Capitals are going to have another great year like they did this year. They obviously had the great chase going on, the great 8 chase. And so you wonder how that impacted their season. So if you're the Devils, you have to have a monster offseason. Now, part of that, as we talked about, is not only going to be signing free agents, but it's going to be making trades as well. And one of the big trades that everybody's talked about is the Quinn Hughes trade, which is more than fair. However, I ran across this article and this report from James Nichols, who, put it out there, that the Devils and Flyers potentially should be looking to do business. Now, they've only done 3 trades prior and in the entire history of both franchises, okay? But he urges GM Tom Fitzgerald to try and change that this summer, make it 4 if one of their goal scorers becomes available. And now that goal scorer would happen to be Owen Tippett. And it's really an interesting article, so I'd suggest going to read it. But if you look at it, they have so many wingers that it looks like some guys might have to be forced out of there. Now, found this very interesting. He's in year 2 of an 8-year contract, $6.2 million cap hit, 10-team no trade clause that kicks in 2 years. Okay, he's only 26. So that really would fit with the Devils' core right now and what they're doing. A little bit of down year last year, still scored 20 goals. He's been on the higher end, closer to 30 the 2 years prior to that. Okay, so I think this is a guy, and there's more here. It's plus skating and skill. This portion, right about halfway down the screen, to me is really where this gets interesting and where I think the Devils should pursue something like this. If it's not exactly Owen Tippett, something like this. Look what it says. If the Devils want to absolve themselves of their depth scoring issue, they'll need to knock some skaters down in top 6 down a peg. This is what we talked about, right? Stefan Noesen was not brought in here to be a top 6 player. He was supposed to be a bottom 6 player. I don't think Andre Palat should be on this team anymore. If he is, he should not be playing top 6 in the top 6. So getting a guy like Tippett would force one of those guys down, and maybe it's Palat, maybe it's Noesen, doesn't matter to me, and maybe what you do in free agency, okay? But that's the type of, those are the type of moves that I wonder if the Devils are going to make. Again, I would get rid of Andre Palat 100 times out of 100. But if you're going to keep him, he's got to slide down to the bottom 6. He cannot be in your top 6. Okay, I think the same thing goes for Stefan Noesen, what he does on the power play. You can keep him there, but And Tippett would allow the Devils to do this. He would allow them to kick one of those guys down to the bottom six, and again, maybe help that a little bit while also spending in free agency. I'm not sitting here telling you knocking Noesen and Palat down is going to solve the Devils' bottom six, because if you look at the Devils' bottom six, they might be revamping the entire thing outside of Dawson Mercer, and that depends. We've talked about it. Dawson Mercer could be on the move this summer. And I think, if we get into a Quinn Hughes trade or another major trade, certainly I think Dawson Mercer might be, I think he's the first active roster player out. You know what I mean? Like, I think Nemec and Casey are still technically prospects or seen as prospects by so many. I don't know what the official cutoff is in the NHL, but certainly I look at those guys as prospects. Mercer's the first NHL-ready player, current player, that would be shipped out in a major deal. So it's so you have him, but other than that, the five guys around it, I mean, you kind of wonder. So you got to kick maybe Stefan Noesen down. I certainly would. Okay. And what have we talked about at nauseam? If you're a Devils fan, you know this has been talked about for a long time, is the Devils need a winger to play next to Jack Hughes. They need a winger to play next to Jack Hughes. Well, not in Tippett, they not only get a player that can score goals at a potential 30-goal clip. Certainly, I think he would benefit from being around Jack Hughes, and I don't see why he couldn't reach that 30-point plateau. But you also look at it, if you look at his season, the guy dishes out 23 assists too. This is not like, he's not 20 goals and 4 assists. So the guy can pass the puck around as well. I think his assist numbers will go up. You're talking about adding potentially another 50-goal scorer to this roster. Again, what the trade would look like, what it would take would be very interesting. I'm not 100% sure exactly what it would be, okay? But I think this is a trade for New Jersey. I think this is the winger that could go right next to Jack Hughes. But if it's not Owen Tippett specifically, I think it's a player like Owen Tippett, okay? If that makes sense. Please let me know. Leave us a comment what you think about the trade, about the potential trade. Again, I know it's unlikely because, and here's Tippett's numbers throughout his career. I know it's unlikely because it's Devils, Flyers, right? Rivals. I actually, growing up, I've never understood why any rival would ever trade with any rival. Like, it never made any sense to me. But in this situation, if you're New Jersey, I would pursue it. All right. I think Tippett's a good guy for them to potentially try and go pry away from Philadelphia. And if they do, you have the winger next to Jack Hughes, and you bump Stefan Noesen down into that bottom six. Now you need 4 more pieces down there, as opposed to the all 6, right? And you have Erik Haula down there as well. Allegedly, we'll see. I think he's got to be on his way out, but that's a whole different video. Let me know what you think. Should the Devils pursue Owen Tippett? Should they also pursue someone like Owen Tippett? Because maybe you're sitting there saying, there's no way Philadelphia's trading with us. Absolutely no way. Goose, you're an idiot. Let me know what you think. Do you think this is plausible? If not, is Owen Tippett the type of player you would like to see the Devils potentially pursue in a trade, right? There's free agency, there's trades, all this kind of stuff going on. So it's going to be fun. It's a great offseason to be part of Devils Digest and a part of all the Devils content and everything like that. So continue to join us. Again, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that keeps commenting on our videos. Okay, we do have a fan that really wants to get Bowser and Donato, okay, get some higher salaries off the books. We have Louis NJ said you should do a stream with Ace over at Running with the Devils. Well, Louis, if you have any contact information for Ace, I'd love to do anything. Let's talk Devils hockey. Just absolutely love that. And then we got Kevin Inspire. Whatever Fitz does, things will change. It will suck, but it will be worth it depending on the price. Okay, so not much confidence in Fitzgerald by Kevin, but if it comes at the right price, they're always moves to make. Okay, so let me know what you think. Should the Devils look at a guy like Owen Tippett? Should they pursue the trade? How heavy should they pursue it? And if not, is he the type of player you would like to see the Devils bring in? I'd love to hear from you. Please drop us a comment. Please let us know what you think. Good, bad, or indifferent. Well, I want to give you a chance. Again, be a subscriber to Devils Digest. We got to get to 500. We need your help. We got to get to 500. That's our goal. And we appreciate you. I know I'll speak for Aiden. I don't like to speak for other people, but I'll speak for Aiden on this. We love having you guys. The Devils Digest community is special, and we're so happy to be a part of it. So thank you for watching, for listening, however you're consuming this content, and we'll catch you next time on Devil's Digest.